Do you feel price of things are going up? Japan is no exception, and I feel price is going up. This is how much travelers spent in Japan in 2024. The price can go different depends on what you do, how long you stay, but even with the same budget, your experience can be different depends on how much you can save on your expenses. There are three things that occupies your budget, and that is airfares, accommodations, and food. There are some additional costs like for entry fee to the theme parks or museums, and also local transportation costs. So you might worry if are we okay with the budget we are preparing? So today I'd like to go over how much you need to prepare for Japan trip, what kind of trip you can do for your budget, and also is there any way to save during your stay in Japan? This is the fourth tip of 30 travel tips of Japan travel. The first one that costs the most is the airfare to Japan. And the great site to find a reasonable flight to Japan is the Google Flight. So let's go over how we can find one. So first let's open the Google Flight. Anyways, okay, but let's say Los Angeles is a bit too easy. So let's say Chicago, October 1st to 14th. And the price shows up. And this is a basic function. And lots of different flights comes up. Depends on the city, lots of indirect flights to Japan comes up. And for example, this one say Cathay via Hong Kong and Eva via Taiwan. So these are kind of passing by Japan once and come back to Japan. So the flight time will be pretty long. Like this Hong Kong one is 31 hours, and this one you have 11 hours in Hong Kong. So if you have like a status and have lounge access, it might be a little more comfortable, but still it's a lot of time to spend. So the duration of the transfer and also the number of the transfer is so important to consider. It can be more than one stop if you are from the smaller cities. So this one is 16 hours, much shorter. So it's one transfer, so it's via Montreal, a little bit better than going via other Asian countries. This 58 minutes transfer can be a little more risky because in case the flight delay a little bit, you feel so rushed and a little bit stressful. But in case you take the transfer flight, it's better to take the flight directly connected, like with one ticket. But if you are taking this same Air Canada, at least they take care of you if you couldn't get this flight to Tokyo because of the flight of this to Montreal delayed. But of course, the best flight is this Japan Airlines or United that has a non-stop flight to Tokyo. Especially if you are not used to the traveling international, it's much easier to take direct flight. So on the Google Flight, the best part is not even talked about yet. And there's a price graph under this list. And here you can see the price list of how prices changes. So as you see, there are lots of up and down on the pricing. And for example, if you leaving October 9th, it's $967, and next day will be $1,236. Just changing the days one day, you can save about $250 in case your day is a little more flexible. But usually if you choose this reasonable flight, again, it can be in direct flight. As you see, $967 was via Hong Kong. So in case you don't like that, you can choose these stops and you can just keep non-stop only. And only non-stop flight comes up. And if you click this price graph again, you see this price graph of only non-stop flights from Chicago to Tokyo. And October 1st is $1,500, so a little expensive. But if you wait a little bit more, it goes down to $1,300 on October 5th. The lowest looks like this $1,100 on leaving October 15th. Looks like around $1,100 is the bottom for this flight. Airfare changes all the time, depends on the demand. So in case you like to find a better deal, you can click this track prices on left side under the price list. If you are fixed on the schedule, like you cannot change the date, October 1st to 14th is the day you can travel, you can click this. So you get notification on the email that are connected to this your Google account. And in case you can change schedule, you can click this any date. Whenever reasonable fares are available, they notify you. And you can do both too. So, and also, in case your itinerary is flexible, you can also choose this. Instead of typing Tokyo, you can just type Japan instead. So you can find out where is the cheapest destination that you can travel to. So let's try this one. And it shows you different cities that you can fly to. So airplane can be very expensive. So by planning early, there's a more opportunity that you can find better deals. And next one that costs the most is accommodations. According to the Japanese government website of the data of 2024, 4 countries, US, UK, Canada, Australia, and all these 4 countries, the tendency of spending is very similar, while it's very different from other Asian countries. And 40 to 45% of all travel costs used in Japan is used for the accommodations. The average budget per person is 331,000 yen approximately. That means about 142,000 yen were used for hotel. And average length of stay is about 12 days. So if it's 11 nights or 12 nights, it means everyone is using about $80 per night for the hotels per person. So that is sound like a really right number, because as I travel recently, I'm staying at a little good business hotel, and usually that is exactly like that, about 11,000 yen to 13,000 yen, which is like 70 to $80. So I like to put a list of the hotels and exact price I paid for them. And just to note is that this is a solo travel, so in case you travel with 2 or more, it can be a little more reasonable. So these hotels are not in the major cities like Tokyo and Kyoto, so it's more reasonable. So going away from the major city is one of the ways to save on the hotels. Unless you stick to certain brands of the hotels, usually you can find better deals from the Google search, and you can find the best site for that hotel for that night. But sometimes Google shows hotels that has like a dormitory room that with shared bathroom, and sometimes it can be in the same hotel as a business hotel. See, 6,000 yen, 7,000 yen, something we could find a regular business hotel room before. So you might think it's a hotel room, but turn out to be the cabin room. So you might want to check the details of the hotel room. So as you saw, the average is $80, but you don't have to make it everything every night around $80. You can make some nights like more epic experience staying at Japanese style ryokan, and some nights you can save more by staying outside the major cities. In case you like to save more, there's also choice to choose a guest house or hostels. I have good memories that I got along with everyone in the room and went out to the bars that I would never go by myself. Or there are some negative experience too that I don't want to remember. So it really depends on the kind of luck who will be in your room. But it will be definitely a great experience. So from my experience, staying at the Hostels International Youth Hostel turned out to be usually a better experience. So maybe you can consider Tokyo has 2 youth hostels by them, and it can be pretty popular and busy. So if you can get reservation early, you are very lucky. And the next one that costs the most is foods. And this is something, again, have a lot of varieties, depends on your favor. And the more you pay, the more you prepared, you might have the epic experience. But that's not necessary always. You can also get some reasonable stuff in Japan, and that can be your nice food of the day too. The one way to save is trying to use a chain restaurant. Price of the sushi restaurant can be no ceiling. It can be very expensive, but sometimes they don't have the price. But if you go to like a chain restaurant, it can be very reasonable. And I know not everyone go for the chain restaurant, but if you like to save, sometimes you can integrate chain restaurants in your itinerary. Also, it's very easy going, and you don't have to feel intimidated to going. And another way to save is use lunch services. It might be sometimes intimidating to go to Japanese style bar or restaurants, but sometimes they offer the lunch services. And it's like if you go to dinner time, it can cost a lot. But for lunchtime, some of them offer the lunch services, and it's a fixed cost like about $10 or less, and you can have a nice set. Sometimes there's some more luxury one, but still like no worry. Of course, this video is about cost, so I'm talking about saving the cost. And of course, if you pay more, might be more different experiences, but definitely lunch service is a good idea to use. So, and also another way to cut the cost is to skip the hotel's breakfast. I usually like to eat a hotel breakfast, and especially if you go to a nice resort hotel, it can be part of the important experience of the travel. But if you are staying at a business hotel and you don't expect that much for the hotel's breakfast quality, and that probably it's also good to get something like sandwiches or rice bowl at nearby convenience store or supermarket. So maybe the breakfast you can eat something from the convenience stores. For lunch you can go for the lunch service of nice restaurants, and for dinner maybe you can go to the chain restaurant. There can be a day like that. Unless you go out at a luxury place every night, probably 5,000 yen per day can be enough for regular travelers, which is about 30 to 40 US dollars. And another cost that I haven't covered is the local transportation cost. So one way to save on the local transportation is getting the Japan Rail Pass, but now that it's 50,000 yen after the price raise, it's really difficult to pay it off from that. To find out if your itinerary is cost effective by getting a JR Pass, you can check the agency site and check the fare calculator. In case you fly to Narita and take Night Express to Tokyo, take Shinkansen to Kyoto and to Hiroshima after that, and come back to Tokyo and to Narita, which is be very busy 7 days. But if you do that, you finally save about a few dollars. You only save a few dollars even with this route. So you see how difficult it is to pay off with the Japan Rail Pass. You have to travel so much longer to pay off in a short period. That also means even if you don't get a Japan Rail Pass, if you travel the same distance, same destination, it can cost about 50,000 yen. If you do the regular golden route, it can be around 30,000 yen. If you go around the golden route, like even further to Hiroshima, it can be about 50,000 yen. And if you stay just in the one area or one cities, it can be under 10,000 yen. There's also a way to save by getting the regional passes by different train companies. Japanese train system, it doesn't go on the sale. There might be a little subtle difference of the price, depends on how busy it is and season, but really subtle, a few dollars. And on the other hand, the airfares can go on big sale sometimes. So from Tokyo, if you use a low-cost carrier, you have to go to Narita Airport, which is a little bit far away. But even from Haneda, like Japan Airlines or ANA, sometimes a few months before the trip, they do a big sale. So from the prices, we see how travelers are using in Japan. If you have about 15,000 yen to 20,000 yen a day, that will be enough for a day. So if your budget is $1,000 in addition to the airfares, if you can shrink your daily cost to $100, you can stay for 10 days. And if you like to keep your budget to about $200 a day, you can stay for 5 days. So shortening your trip is one of the ways to save budget without feeling that you are lowering the quality of your experiences. I hope you could get idea of travel budget on Japan trip. Right now, as a 3 years anniversary of this channel, I'm making 30 travel tips about Japan travel. But usually I'm making a travel vlogs about trains from the different regions of Japan and from Tokyo's unseen regions. So if you might like the content from me about Japan, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan.